I'd like to call the May Public Safety Committee meeting to order. First up is District Attorney's Office. That is correct, right, Kelly?
Oh, yeah, it's right, but I have to find the agendas. Hold on one sec.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, my requests, I think, speak for themselves, and I'm available should anybody have any questions or requests, complaints.
Just can you hang on 1 second, please, Supervisor? I just want to get that up on the screen. It's not on the screen right now. I think Kelly's working on it. But,
Sure.
but I guess you can ask a question at this point. Go ahead.
I had two questions that could likely be answered without it on the screen. Mr. Chika, for both of your personnel resolution requests, which I'm in support of, there's nothing checked under yes or no for whether the position is budgeted. Was that just an oversight or I always look at whether it's budgeted or not, and if it's not, make sure that we know where we're paying.
Thank you. The position as relates to the court liaison is budgeted, but it's budgeted under a different name, paralegal. The position for the law intern has not been budgeted, although had been in the past, but was not in this budget.
Thank you. And I assume you've worked with.
Please excuse me for not checking those boxes correctly.
That's
No worries. I always look to those boxes.
the law intern is the one that's $20 an hour, correct? For the
Yes,
part-time.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So does that come out of the .1 budget for an intern?
Yes, it would.
Would, yeah.
And then do we typically put maximums on these kinds of things?
Maximum meaning.
I would have no objection to a maximum based on a weekly rate of 35 hours.
$700 a week. 35 times 20. Is that what we're talking about?
That I would have no objection to supplementing my request with that.
Okay.
And that's summer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for District Attorney Chika?
Hold on, guys, because I'm supposed to be taking notes and I'm trying to pull this up for you guys. So hold on.
Okay.
All right. We had trouble with this the other night on a meeting, didn't we? Someone couldn't pull up paper. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Kelly, did you get the conversation? If not, I can do a recap.
It was whether it was budgeted or not.
Whether it was budgeted or not, the first one was, it was just under a different title. The second one was not, but it did go through .1. Is that correct?
Yes.
Earlier
Yes.
this week.
Earlier this week.
And he has an unfilled assistant DA position too that we haven't funded for a while. So there is money in the account.
And the other.
And Chairman Lagonia, I think it was the opposite. I think the first one, at least in my packet, the first one is the law intern was the one that was not budgeted. And the second one, which is the liaison, was the one budgeted. That's the way I heard it.
And that's what I meant to say if I did not. Thank you.
Okay. And then we also were going to add that the max would be 35 hours a week times $20 an hour. Is that correct? $700 a week?
That's the way I understood it.
Okay,
So I will move the first motion as amended to add in up to 35 hours a week and to check the no box on the position being budgeted.
second.
Who was that on second?
I don't have one yet.
On second, Abdus.
Abdus is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So you're doing both of those with the same people?
I'll move the second resolution with is the position budgeted box being checked? Yes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
District
Mr.
Attorney.
Chaika.
Unless there's anything else for me, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to sign off.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a nice day. Sheriff's Department?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. We just have one request tonight. That's authorization to fill a budgeted full-time deputy sheriff's lieutenant position based on a perceived retirement on May 27th. That's a salary of $81,392.
I'll move it. Hoatling?
Second.
Abdus second.
Abdus second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So carried.
Thank you. And just any questions on the out-of-county inmate report? As you can see, we surpassed 21's income. Obviously, it was a low year in 21 due to COVID, but we've already surpassed that by about $7,000.
Any other questions for the sheriff? I have a couple if anybody else has any. Sheriff, couple things. Police presence at the Hazardous Waste Day, June 5th, 8 to 1. Is there any issue with doing that or possibility of having some police presence there?
At the Emergency Management Center?
Yes. Yeah.
It looks like we'll be able to supply at least one. Our staffing
Okay.
obviously is still pretty low. We've been doing some stuff with civil service to change that, but we should have at least one there working on a second.
Great. Thank you. And the second was, I just had a question from one or two supervisors about the resident deputy program, which I know that you've already spoken about that. But could you just get a communication out to the supervisors, just advising them, giving them a heads up as to where you're at with that and you know, where you see that going down the road? Just some clarification. Some of the supervisors that I asked me just weren't sure what was going on with it.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the sheriff? Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. I too will be signing off if there's nothing else, and I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. 911?
Good evening, everyone. I just have some agency data for April of 2022. We received incoming 911 call volume was 3,706 calls. We dispatched 1,239 EMS agencies, 387 fire agencies, 1,785 police polls, and 294 public service calls. And that's all I have.
Terrific. Any questions for Rob? Thank you, Rob.
Thanks.
Probation?
Hey, everyone. Just the one request to renew our software maintenance agreement with Automon. The amount's $8,752.69. And that's for our Caseload Explorer software that we use to manage all of our information.
Move it, Helsley.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Dodo? Thank you, Mr. Dodo.
Thank you.
Public Defender, Mr. Zoni?
Good afternoon, everyone. I have one request and then monthly reports. One request is request authorization by the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to consent to a 1-year extension of the second Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant that is due to end June 30th of this year and needs to be extended for 1 year due to funds which are still available. This grant pays partial parts of salaries for some attorneys in the public defender's office.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second, Hoagland.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you very much. On to the reports. In the month of April, we had 113 applications, 128 cases were closed, 1,187 active caseload. In the area of arraignments, normal business hours, my staff and I conducted 93 arraignments, and the counsel at first arraignments conducted 16. And that is all I have to report. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for the public defender? Thank you, Mr. Zoni.
Thank you, everyone.
Emergency management.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to everybody. We have no resolution requests, and we have our activity report, and that's all we have. Any questions? Be glad to answer them.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's been really helpful to have the getting the stockpiles from New York State for the masks and the tests. We're starting to run low for the city of Hudson, and I was wondering if either the county has stockpiles or if we can if there's going to be opportunities to make future requests.
If Dave, I can address that.
Okay.
I was on a call Friday afternoon with the governor and all the county executives, and the state is building up its stockpile again because they're expecting in the fall that we're going to have another surge. So they're going to be stockpiling test kits as well as vaccines for the counties. And I had asked Director Harrison to inventory what we currently have so that we can report it to the state and see what we may need to replenish where we used to be.
Just to clarify, we do not keep test kits or masks in inventory for that purpose. We believe that they're best out with the municipality. So when they come in, we split them up, process them, and we deliver them. Now, we did start a county stockpile that we've never had before in the event that we come across having to be shut down and a real dire situation like we had at the beginning of this. And we're going to keep that. That's very few, and it has the more medical and more expanded items. But that we don't hand out. However, when we do keep things in, we don't keep any. But there are some towns around that haven't used their full amount. For example, we did find some test kits for Valatia who needed some. I don't know that if I requested test kits now, we would get them anyway if it was only one or two municipalities. But it seems like they're getting ready to maybe offer some again anyway.
I think if you asked other towns, Michael, other towns have a lot of extra ones that are going to expire anyway. So if you were in need, I'm sure the
Germantown has quite a few. I'll touch base with you, Michael, and see if we can redistribute them to you. What do you need, masks and tests, or just?
At this point, I think we probably have a runway of about a month, but I think we'll probably be out of both in about a month. So yeah,
Okay.
It'd be great to get some more.
I'll touch base. I know there's quite a few masks at town hall, and I think we haven't gone through the tests as quickly as I would have anticipated. So I'll touch base with you and we're getting redistributed.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And also, I just read that the federal government has put out 8 additional test kits per household again. So that'll be 16 in total in the last few months that households can get free test kits that way.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll do another public outreach that people can sign up for those. That's like through the post office.
Yeah, well, there's a website. You can go there, you can apply, and they're allowing up to 8 per household.
Okay.
And they're mailed to you. Yeah, they're mailed to you free of charge. There's no charge at all.
Supervisor Rooms?
Yeah, actually, if you guys have extra test kits, for some reason, Kinderhook ran out of test kits. Can you believe that? At any rate, I haven't had too many
You
requests.
may want to reach out to
Excuse me?
you may want to reach out to Chatham. They got a lot. Some of the towns around you. They received a lot of test kits that maybe they're not using, but I can send an email out and, ask towns that if they have extra test kits that they're not using, that there are places, there are municipalities that may need them. And then hopefully we'll get a response to that.
I would appreciate that. I
Thank
think
you.
that would be helpful. We can figure out
Thank
how
you.
to get them around. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Harrison?
Tistrier
I
has
didn't
her
have
hand
a question, but I just wanted to chime in on that because I had a resident here in New Lebanon that messaged me the other day and said that he was working at Dee Dee Barrett's office in Hudson and they had a ton of test kits they were looking to get out to towns, and he brought me 4 full boxes. So I would reach out to Dee Dee Barrett's office. It seems like they might have a good amount to share.
That's Gunnar Warden. Do you have his number, Michael?
I'll maybe track it down and I'll send an email to everybody.
All right.
Yeah, I think you could contact all the representatives. I think they all have, if you contact them directly as a public official, I think most of them do have some in stock that they can give out.
Yep. Great. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it, Cal?
EMS.
EMS.
Yeah, just an informational update. We're still experiencing offload wait times at CMH several times a week. Hasn't been, I think the longest has been up to about an hour. And it's not just CMH. We had to divert to Kingston for some patient care as well. We got down there and they had to wait an hour and a half down there as well. So due to staffing problems in the ERs. So that continues. I did see on the news where Albany Med has come up with some sort of plan that involves CMH, Albany Med, and Saratoga Hospital to help staff. So hopefully that will help relieve things. We've had a little bit of COVID workforce depletion over the last month, but hasn't affected the agencies overall. They've been able to fill a gap. So we're still plugging.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for PJ? Thank you. Any other questions for the group?
Denal has his hand up.
Supervisor Collins?
Yeah, we do have a bit of a stockpile. They're starting to move a little quicker now. But I definitely would have some for supervisors, committees, or OOMs if they need it.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Chairman Morrell.
I just want to remind everybody that our emergency center is being dedicated this Saturday, so at 10 o'clock. So everyone's invited.
Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Record speed.
Make it healthy.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So
Aye.
carried.
Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
everyone.
Enjoy, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
for 5/18/22. First one on the list tonight is MIS.
Evening, everybody. We're looking for authorization to send our CIO, Ryan Tiano, down to Baltimore, the MSISAC, which is the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center. They're putting out a conference, and they'd like to have us attend. Basically, it's to network with peers about cybersecurity, see about proactive plans, something, and maybe go bounce off other people that do the same things we do with any issues we may have come across. So we're just looking to see if we'd be able to send him down there.
I would move it. Adams.
Second, Simmons. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to note that normally these don't come to committee, but since it's out-of-state travel, we want them to come to committee for out-of-state travel.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is planning.
Okay, hi, everybody. I have one resolution tonight. It's authorization to appoint a member to the Environmental Management Council, be a representative for the town of Stuyvesant, Christian Sweddington, for a 2-year term.
I'll move that. Second, Rick.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Great, thank you very much.
Boy, this is going too fast. Somewhere's in there. Chris Watts has got to be coming. I know he's there somewhere. Next up is human resource.
Woo! Good evening, everyone. How are you? Mine's short too, sir. We just have our traditional RS 2417A to be filed for appointed positions to establish the standard workday.
I'll move that, Morel.
Adams, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
No, that's all for this evening. Thank you very much. Enjoy your night.
Thank you. I can't cross out the things fast enough. Oh, no. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Bill Better, county. Oh, no, we got a county attorney right now. It's not Bill Better. So now it is Chris Watts, isn't it?
I'm going to put a screeching halt on everything just for you, Kippy. I have one very simple resolution. I'm asking for a parcel. Actually, it's the treasurer's resolution, but I'm asking for a parcel to be removed from the active tax rolls because the county owns the property.
Okay.
I'll move that, Morel.
Need a second?
I'll second it, Simmons.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's it. I'm out of here. Have a great meeting, guys. Thank you.
You're killing me, Chris. You're killing me.
Wait, one question. Can you tell me why we need to do that? Why would it be on the tax rolls?
It was on, well, because we had taken it. It was previously, it was owned by somebody else, and there were taxes that were owed for a few years in the past. Suzette couldn't remove them because there were too many previous taxes owed on it.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
Okay, thanks, Chris. Have a good night. Now we have the historian up, Bill Better. He'll make it
Thanks
short.
very much, folks. I have a request to fill a vacancy caused by a resignation. I have a part-time clerk typist in my budget. It pays $17.65 an hour, and there's been a vacancy, and I'd like to fill it. It went to .1 yesterday, and I'd like you folks to authorize me filling that. The person typically works 10 or 15 hours a week. They'll be helping me do the curriculum project that I'm working on. And I'll probably be back next month, move around some .4 money that I might have to extra continue to fund this. But I'd like to have permission to hire this person to get the fellow on the road. I asked also to have an emergency to have it done before the June 8th board meeting.
So moved.
Second, Scalera.
All in favor?
I had a question.
Craig has a question. Hold on.
Okay.
Was this the one we did last night in .1, and we're
Yeah.
going to put a limit on of $1,000 that was in your budget?
That's all I got left in my budget, Supervisor Simmons. What I'm going to do, the person only works like 10 or 15 hours a week. So that'll carry me for a while. Then I'm going to see how much progress we're making. I've got .4 money. I've been the historian. This is my 3rd year. I have never made a request for any .4 money. I tell people to take it back because whatever the costs are that I could otherwise submit for reimbursement or use, I just pay out of my pocket. So whatever is left in my budget, and quite frankly, I have no idea. I'm going to see how this project is moving along, and then I'll make an inter-budget transfer of whatever is in the point four. At least ask you folks for that. It's really not a particularly large expenditure.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
That's it, Bill?
That's all, folks.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Have a
See
good
you
night.
later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Hey, up is Sergeant Major.
Hey, good evening, everybody. First of all, I have a resolution to get rid of the old bus. I want to take it to auction, and they needed a resolution for it.
Okay.
Gary, do you have any idea what it'll bring at auction?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you have any idea what it'll bring at auction?
I have no idea, no.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Gary, if we can pass this, but I would suggest that you talk to the controller, Jim Bragg, before you do anything.
Yeah, Jim's the one who asked me.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, Jim's the one that set it up for him.
Yeah, Jim's
Oh, okay, no problem. Sorry, then.
I'll move this.
Second, Scalise.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Gary, any questions?
No.
Can I ask, are we auctioning that through our normal services like the highway does, or?
Yes, Gary, you're sending that to Highway for auction, correct?
Correct. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
The normal process.
Okay.
Okay, Gary, carry on, please.
Yeah, quick update. Our Dwyer Widows program is really growing, and in fact, 2 other counties are coming here to see what we're doing. We have 22 widows in the program now, doing a lot of outreach and talking to new widows, which unfortunately we're having too many of. Some events coming up. We're celebrating a World War II veteran 100th birthday a week from Sunday from Elizaville, and after he got out of World War II, he went to the New York City Fire Station and retired from there.
Nice.
This Saturday, I'm going to be down in Germantown rededicating a Vietnam veterans monument. That's at noon, and then at 2:00, I'm going with Jake over to a campground at Popic Falls, where we're going to celebrate Armed Forces Day. Dwyer Barbecue, as a reminder for everybody, is June 12th at the park in Greenport. Memorial Day program, we have Ghent at 9:00, Chatham 11, and Canaan at 2:00. And the General Travers is going to be our guest speaker at Chatham and Canaan. This is the first time in over 30 years we've had a ceremony and parade in Canaan, so we're excited about that. Right, Brenda?
Absolutely.
Since the last time I reported, I have 23 new submissions on compensation cases, got 16 ratings back, 8 within the last week at 100%. And one of them was a veteran I had on food stamps that we've now taken off, and he was even thinking of bankruptcy. His case went back to 2016, the VA jerking us around on an MST case, but we won that finally. He came in to see me yesterday and said, hey, Sergeant Major, I paid all my bills. So that was good. The PTSD activities, we have a monthly program out at High and Mighty Horse Farm called Boots on the Ground, and we turn out a couple dozen veterans and their families every month for that program. And the use of our Veterans Dwyer Operations Center with the VA and the compensation people by video is just growing almost every day. And that's it. Anybody have any questions?
All right, Sergeant Major, thank you for your report. Have a good night. Okay, we also have up next Fair Housing, Bill Fisher, please.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'll go through this agenda pretty quickly, but as you know, each year the county does a proclamation declaring April as Fair Housing Month. And this is in conjunction with National Fair Housing Month. And as is customary, we get something in the paper every year to show the county's reaffirming of our commitment to fair housing. And this year is actually the 54th anniversary of fair housing. So what we get in the paper is the characteristics that are protected from discrimination, et cetera, and also the numbers that they can call the Department of Housing and Urban Development and also the Division of Human Rights. So as is customary, we did do that again this year. And then we get into the COVID-19 related moratorium on evictions. As you know, that expired on January 15th of this year. And going down to the hardship declarations, those declarations that stayed the eviction proceedings during the ban on evictions will no longer stay the evictions, but it is important that any tenants who might be on the urge of being evicted use that as some kind of a defense that they had a COVID-related hardship, whether it be a financial loss of income or additional expenses, or whether it be a health-related situations where getting evicted would cause maybe an individual to get a condition that might be exasperated by a condition they already have. So those hardship declarations are no longer in effect, but can be used as a defense, as I mentioned, when they go to court. The other thing is there are no more hardship declarations that can be declared since the moratorium expired. The Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP, it's very important for any tenants and landlords that have applied to ERAP, particularly for the tenants, because until an applicant receives a big fat no on that application, if it's denied, that until that happens, the tenant is actually protected until that happens. So anybody who has an ERAP application pending, the judges are going to just postpone those evictions. Of course, if the eviction is based on something else, like other than rent arrears due to COVID-19, such as creating nuisances or unsafe conditions for other tenants, and whatever that case may be, they can go ahead with those types of evictions. ERAP applications and funding in Columbia County. Actually, Columbia County has had 162 applications funded to the total tune of about $1.5 million. 400,000 of that would be for prospective rent payments. By that they mean if anyone is paying 30% or more of their household income for rent, they can apply to get 3 months additional prospective rents in addition to the rent arrears. So actually, we can track this by county as far as the dollar amount is concerned and the number amount is concerned that have been paid out. But there's also a report that comes out by zip code, and with this zip code report, we have about 350 applications out there in Columbia County. And actually, there are about 225 of those applications. Actually, I should correct that. There are about 253 of those applications which actually qualify for that 3 months prospective arrears. They are reviewing these applications, but unfortunately, as of October the 7th of last year, 2021, they ran out of the federal funding, which was 2.7 billion. They ran out of that money, and so they weren't able to consider any applications after that. They closed the application portal there, and they were ordered to reopen that by court order on January the 11th. And so there have been applications coming in since January the 11th. So far, what is the good thing that has happened? When they ran out of funds on October the 7th, they just couldn't do much after that. But on April the 9th, the governor approved $2 billion in the state budget. Up until then, it had been federal money, but she approved $2 billion in the state budget, of which $800 million has been allocated for the ERAP program. So the OTDA, the Office of Temporary Disability and Assistance, which has been dealing with that program and monitoring it and so forth, controlling it, they feel now that although they were unable to fund applications after October the 7th, 2021, now they have sufficient funds to go through March 31st of this year. So what will happen after March 31st, we don't know. But, it'll depend on funding. I know that Governor Hochul wrote Janet Yellen of the Treasury Department for some additional funds back in November, but we really haven't heard anything on that. So, then we get down to the LRAP program. They're in the budget this year, along with out of the $2 billion that the governor allocated, there's $125 million in there to assist landlords. But I understand that the OTDA is not taking applications from landlords, but landlords can benefit naturally from the tenants applying under the ERAP program. The LRAP program, the way that was set up, that was for landlords who, where the tenants would not apply for ERAP, but actually, and also for landlords where the tenant skipped out owing additional or owing rent arrears. So, but right now they're not accepting LRAP applications. I want to stay on top of that to see what's going to happen with that. We got to help our landlords as well. The Safe Harbor Act, that could be a catch-all thing for tenants. Really, is if a tenant can meet the criteria of owing rents from March the 13th, 2020 through the moratorium expiration date of January 15th, 2022, they could very well, and it's a COVID-related thing, and they meet all the criteria of the Safe Harbor Act. What that does is the tenant may not be evicted if they can't pay the rent arrears, but the landlord would be awarded a judgment to actually be able to collect on a judgment. But the idea of getting the tenant out because they can't pay the rent, if they qualify, meet all the criteria under the Safe Harbor Act, they may be able to stay but be sued for the back rent. Community outreach, each time something changes, I try to get a letter in the paper, a press release in the paper. We get something out on our Fair Housing website as well, so that we try to keep the public up to date. We also had a meeting on April 27th of the Fair Housing Advisory Board, and there are a number of agencies in the county that we get that information out to so that they have it as well. The poster contest, that's one of the fun things I do. I look forward to that, but we haven't been able to do that in couple of years because of the school closings and going virtual and so forth. So looking forward to trying to get that back in place in Fair Housing Month 2023. It's a fun thing to do. I love seeing the kids' artwork and also the giving them an update on civil rights and the history of fair housing and the other regulations that come into play. The landlord tenants rights form, we did have one last year, virtual in October. We got out information to landlords and tenants. We have usually a very good panel of speakers, but we're looking forward to getting back into a personal thing there again, and getting out as much information as we can to landlords and tenants. So we'll see how that goes. We like to do these things on or about Fair Housing Month. So these things probably won't happen until 2023 again, but we want to really get started. You got to get started with the schools early, right after the school year starts to get everybody on board, the teachers, the art teachers, and everyone else, kids. So the nature of the calls received, we received calls naturally on evictions, foreclosures, reasonable accommodations, which means helping those people that need extra help from their landlords, grab bars or air purifiers and that type of thing. Warranty of habitability, that's always a big thing. People always have complaints about repairs not being made or unsafe conditions or unsanitary conditions. So we work on that. Security deposits, not going back to the individuals. We work on those kind of things. Rent increases, as you know, rent increases are not controlled in this county. So whatever the landlord and tenant agree upon is what that rent increase can be. Leases, violations on both sides, by tenants and landlords, and smoking violations. That's coming into play. That's a big issue now, and try to work with those individuals that have really severe sensitivities to secondhand smoke. And unfortunately, it always seems like the perpetrator is the one that comes out, and the victim is, unfortunately got to pack up and leave or whatever they have to do. But that's basically covers it. One thing I tell everybody too is do not self-evict. People get notices, they get panicky, and they say, "Oh, I got a 14-day notice. I got to be out in 14 days." Well, that's not the case. As you know, there's a whole process that has to go through, and these notices have to be proper in their form and timely, the way they're given and so forth. So basically, that's it. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time, but if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions for Bill? No, I guess not, Bill. So thank you very much. It was a good report.
Okay, thank you. Very nice joining you folks. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, so I have go ahead, Kelly.
Supervisor Simmons had a proposal.
Yes. Apparently, folks up in Chatham want to come down to Philmont and see Kippy Wild-Gills, but now we have a trail system that we're aware of, and it passes through Ghent. We'd like to get a letter of support signed by Chairman Morrell to seek some grant funding that may be readily available. This is kind of a rush because a big portion of the project got held up down south at the southern tip of this project, and it's kind of a time sensitive, use the money or lose it type of thing. They approached us with this. This is something that's been on the back burners and for 10 years. And I reached out to the village of Chatham. They were very excited. They're really moving at a, quite a pace, and reached out to the village of Philmont, who once again wants to be a part of this. So it'd be a Chatham, Ghent, Philmont project. We're looking at a part A and a part B. The easy section is from Chatham to Ghent, and then but we're going to try to apply it all as one. So I just was asking, I wanted to bring it to this committee and ask for a signed letter of support. I put up a couple of templates. I'm not sure which one.
It's actually the letter that's up there. The other one was a resolution.
Oh, okay.
So
So anybody got any questions?
I just would like to say I fully support the rail trails and the recreational opportunities, as well as the positive financial and social aspects. So I would be happy to move this.
So before we go to second, Craig, I got a question. So in Clover, so you're coming now from Philmont and going to Chatham. So we're going north out of Philmont.
Well, I think they're going to start the project out of Chatham to Philmont, because the Philmont section, the Philmont section, that's actually going to be very difficult. There's some wetlands we got to have remapped, and there's some bridges that are in real tough shape.
Yeah, and then I think eventually they want to go from there all the way back down to Hillsdale.
Absolutely, that's their goal. Yep.
Okay, I have a motion. Does anybody have a second?
I'll second, Michael.
Michael, any all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, there you go, Mr. Simmons.
Oh, well, thank you guys. Hopefully we can move this along and get it for once and all. It's how these rail trails are really popular now. They weren't so 10 years ago, but they've proven to be a great asset to the communities that they run through, and looking forward to trying to make this happen. So thank you guys.
And it's a safe place for people to ride their bikes and do that kind of stuff. You're right. It's out of the way. It doesn't bother anybody. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Let's come before the board.
Kippy, I do. It's Brenda Adams.
Yep.
Is the Board of Elections on the agenda for next month?
That I haven't seen anything yet, Brenda. I'm not sure.
Actually, they were supposed to come this month to give an update, but they've had so many changes going on that they don't even know the true answers at this point. But when I had talked to Kelly and Ken, I said, you guys really should come and give an update. But as you see in the paper today, there's even more changes. So I'm not sure they're quite up to snuff on everything.
Okay. I'm just hoping that we're going to start to have a sense. I realize that things are changing daily, but we're starting to get in the thick of it if we have a June primary.
We can also ask them to do a written report once they do get the answers, which we can then send out to all the supervisors.
That'd be great.
Okay. Anybody else? I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Simmons.
Second, Rick.
All in favor? Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Well, good meeting. Good meeting. Nice to see y'all.
See ya.
Good job, Kippy.
Good night, all.
See ya.
Good night.